What's up, loves? It's your girl, Lady Pelvic of Pelvic Gaming, and today we're talking about my top 5 favorite underrated JRPG OSTs. That was a mouthful. This video is super exciting because a lot of people associate my channel with underrated games or forgotten games. I mean, when's the last time you heard someone talk about Rogue Galaxy, El Shaddai, or Puppeteer? Granted, this video is specifically honing in on JRPGs, and my next video is going to be underrated gaming soundtracks excluding JRPGs. So look forward to that. So when speaking about RPG soundtracks, most people say Persona, or Nier Automata, Undertale, the Kingdom Hearts series, even The World Ends With You. These all have great OSTs. The games I'm talking about are very powerful in the music department, and for some reason are forgotten about. So I'm here to bring them to light. Without further ado, let's boogie. Number 5. Number 5. This OST is just as underrated as the game is. Buried beneath the titans that are Seiken Densetsu 2 and 3, or Secret of Mana and Trials of Mana, is the black sheep of the Mana series, but my favorite, Seiken Densetsu 4, or Legend of Mana. Unlike the previous 2 entries that were composed by Hiroki Kikuta, this was Yoko Shimomura's first time composing, arranging, and producing for the Mana series. And this iconic composer knocked it out of the park. She already had some phenomenal titles: Street Fighter 2, World of Warrior, Breath of Fire, Super Mario RPG, and Parasite Eve under her belt, and little did she know, she was about to have another knockout. Legend of Mana is a game that has it all: piano, hard rock, and electronic music. She employs all these genres to create a unique sound that is lacking in both Trials and Secret. Though Trials and Secret have excellent music in their own right, I'd hardly call them underrated. Speaking of being underrated, Legend of Mana has the first vocal track of any Mana game, called Song of Mana. Funny enough, Yoko Shimomura wanted to stay away from a vocalist who already had popularity, and opted to work with a Swedish singer, Annika Luddenberg. I'm so sorry to my Swedish viewers if I butchered her name. I really think Yoko did a great job giving each world its own unique sound. Going to the moonlit city sounds ominous, with Dud Bears speaking some strange language. Or the vast port city, Polpota. It's so important to match the sound with the area you're in. It sets the atmosphere and tone, informing the player on how to feel about the present setting. And the various boss themes are among some of my favorite. Honestly, the way the world's culture, mood, and state of affairs are conveyed through the music alone is outstanding. Even the title theme feels evocative, with heavy piano chords playing amidst a chorus of strings before solitary and sincere notes guide you toward the energetic and epic clash of drums and shakers, like being lifted from peace into a heroic call of arms. The soundtrack is filled with music that immerses you into the world so well. You can expect nothing but greatness from Yoko Shimomura, and you best believe you'll hear her name later on this list. Number 4, This game has it all. Alluring visuals, a charismatic cast, challenging gameplay, and of course a musical score that can make this girl's heart soar. Octopath Traveler was just a big old kiss to us old schoolers. Where do I even begin? The theme just ignites the adventurous spirit in you. From the moment you land on the title screen, seeing the previews of all the unique locations you'll reach, and the characters that you'll journey with, it really sets the tone for the wonders in store for you over the course of the entire game. And you haven't even pushed a button yet. Already, this is one of those games where you'll have a hard time starting because the music bewitches you. But if you manage to break the spell and set a virtual foot onto your travels, don't think you're home free. Octopath Traveler masterfully nails every note it sets to achieve. Location themes, boss themes, character themes woven into boss themes, it's all transcendent, charmingly passionate, and distinctive. For me, this is Yasunori Nishiki's biggest project, as I'm not familiar with many of his works. The biggest until Final Fantasy VII Remake, that is. One of Octopath's strongest suits is the personalized stories. Each character is on a different path, if you will, that is met with tailored adversaries. And through dialogue and body language, we can get a sense of what these characters are about. But I'm willing to wager, had you never seen the characters and only heard their theme, you could imagine their personalities and stories. Let's play a game comments section. If you for some reason haven't played Octopath Traveler, what kind of character do you envision when you hear If I'm right, you should hear someone who's refined, dignified, someone who's proper, and perhaps a noble. This is Cyrus the Scholar's theme, and while he isn't a noble, he is a teacher of one. Well-spoken and forever thirsting for knowledge, although, despite his high intelligence, he cannot tell when he's being fancied by a woman. Character themes are outstanding, but Octopath doesn't stop there. Different lands are so beautifully orchestrated. There was never a time I was bothered by the music. If anything, I was ensnared by it, wanting to stay longer and exploring what each land had to offer. The soft and calming melodies of the piano, and its bubbly and reflective accompaniments could keep me in the harsh Frostlands for days. Sticking with the Frostlands, I love that the towns within their respective lands have a similar ring. This is Flamesgrace, the town in the Frostlands. Octopath builds on its music so well. It even has different battle themes and boss battle themes. If I wasn't on a time crunch, there would be so much to unpack. But rest assured, Octopath Traveler is one of the greatest OSTs of this console generation that is not spoken about as often as I would like. It's fantastic music to decompress to, and actually works wonders as background music to a D&D campaign. Try it out. Number 3. This game's soundtrack is way better than what I remember. Honestly, if you would have told me a JRPG with Western-themed music would have been one of my favorite gaming OSTs, I would have laughed at you. Wild Arms, released on the PlayStation. The opening perfectly sums up your musical expectations. Michiko Naruki is the brilliant mind behind most of the music of Wild Arms. My girl brought the wildness of the West into JRPGs, just making every track a hit, whether it's meant to be soothing, menacing, or somewhere in between. Naruki is responsible for one of the greatest dungeon themes. It makes you feel like a go-getter. But where this game shines most is when it incorporates the sounds of the West. Harmonicas, whistles, the strums of an acoustic guitar. It paints the picture of a warm sunset, sitting on your porch, wearing a 10-gallon hat, spitting tobacco or some shit. I don't know, I'm not a cowboy. But that's kind of what anxiety to impatience makes me think. Even Migrant Bird of the Wilderness, or Rudy's theme, or the Overworld theme, is a banger. Mentioned before, Wild Arms grabs a lot of inspiration from Western themes. For example, the Wild Arms intro homages to the famous spaghetti western A Fistful of Dollars theme, which makes sense as it's one of the most definitive films of the Western genre. But Naruki makes her theme her own with distinctive lightness and a rich marriage of instruments Italian composer Ennio Morricone's lacked. Don't judge me for that accent. Some of you gunslingers may even recognize Migrant Bird of the Wilderness as the Ecstasy of Gold from the Dollars Trilogy third flick, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I just really love Wild Arms, and I think out of all the JRPGs I've played, this has one of the more unique soundtracks that sadly doesn't get enough love. This title has so much to offer in the music space, and if you haven't touched this game yet, I really recommend you give it a go. Number 2 woo-woo. If there is one good thing that came from this game, it's the music, and perhaps being the start of a great JRPG series. This is Capcom's first foray into the RPG scene. I'm talking the OG, Breath of Fire. Listen, Breath of Fire 2, 3, and 4 all have good music, but none come close to the unique sound of the first. Even Breath of Fire 2 redoes some of the older music, but Breath of Fire just has a really well-rounded soundtrack, from battle themes, dungeon themes, to several overworld themes, each topping the last. Town themes are some of the best, and speaking of overworlds, how you travel, the music changes. For example, swimming, some of my favorite underwater music. If I had to highlight my favorite bits of Breath of Fire music, it has to go to the town themes. Bleak, the City of Thieves, probably has my favorite music. This game doesn't miss a single mark when it came to the music, and it's easy to see why. Breath of Fire had a squad of seasoned composers on board: Yasuhaki Fujita, Mari Yamaguchi, Minei Saito, Tatsuya Nishimura, and Yoko Shimomura. It's easy to think anyone trying to play Breath of Fire now would surely go crazy from poor translation, character balancing, stupid high encounter rates, and a standard story. But if there's one element this game has to keep you grounded, it's a phenomenal soundtrack. Number 1. Very, very rarely do we get a soundtrack where every song's either a bop or serves to create this phenomenal mood. And I also feel this is a game that's kind of forgotten about, so that's why I keep bringing it up in hopes that it will be remade. And composed by the legend herself, Yoko Shimomura, Parasite Eve. I remember being floored by how amazing the music was. I admit, I didn't expect much from a horror game, just some spooky, eerie music to create some atmosphere. But my god, did Yoko say no! Horror games can have more than just eerie undertones, distant clacking, or mysterious animal noises. It shall have electronica. It shall be under the influence of opera. She took these vastly different mediums and married them to create a masterpiece of distinctive sound. The opening, Primal Eyes, gives you a taste of what you'll be in for. Shimomura even brought back one of her previous compositions for the game, and despite being used for two different genres, the song fits perfectly for the tension of both. This song is from Legend of Mana, Marnel Beasts. Now listen to Parasite Eve's Plosive Attack. It might be a case of Shimomura plagiarizing herself, or it could have been an intentional tongue-in-cheek callback to her past work, but I felt like it was a fun detail to know. There is so much to unpack with her work here, how it builds off one another. Take, for example, the memory themes. As Aya progresses, more is unveiled about her past and why the events around her are happening. This is the stuff you wouldn't hear in a horror game, and I would argue the music alone is one of the key components that makes Parasite Eve stand out. I want to end this speaking about the vocal work. It's a shame that the song Influence of the Deep from the game uses an artificial opera voice. When the original and orchestrated version by Judith Serla Paskowitz sounds so much better. Honestly, part of the reason I want a remake is so we can have this version proper. If you couldn't tell, I like Parasite Eve a lot more than I realized. Also, because I know you guys are wondering, a Parasite Eve 2 video will probably come around Halloween time, so look out for that. I also wanted to quickly list off some honorable mentions, such as Earthbound, Mother 3, Xenoblade Chronicles, Phantasy Star 4, Legend of Dragoon. That one almost took the place of Octopath Traveler, and I'm sure there's a Pokemon game in there somewhere. I'm just trying to keep the video short. And of course, I want to know some of your favorite underrated video game soundtracks. As always, I'll be reading the comments, and until next time, peace. Thank you all very much for watching. Top box for more top 5 videos like this, and the bottom box is Guess That Video Game Track. It's an online little game show I did with John Cartwright and Ash Paulson of Game Explain, where we guess what video game that song is from. RPG edition, baby. So if you want to see how I did, check it out. It was a riot. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.